everybody and welcome to another Assetto Corsa Competizione track guide from Traxion. In today's edition we will be looking at the home of British motorsport, Silverstone. Since hosting the first ever Formula 1 Championship race in 1950, Silverstone has become one of the most iconic venues in the world, with its fast and flowing nature providing an exciting challenge for drivers. For this video we have selected the Bentley Continental, which is well suited to the high-speed circuit. Firstly, let's break it down corner by corner in order to help you work out exactly where you're losing the time. As you head down the pit straight, you want to be over to the left with two wheels on the curb, and you want to start braking for Copse just before the 50 marker. As you brake, shift down to 4th gear and start turning into the corner almost immediately. As the car gets closer to the apex, you can roll off the brake and just let the downforce do the work. On the apex, you want the right hand side of the car fully over the black and white curb, and as soon as you reach this point you want to be back on the power, opening out the steering and using all of the available road on the exit. Just be careful for track limit warnings here by keeping two wheels inside the white line, and remember that as your tyres wear you will need to adjust your entry speed accordingly. Drift over to the right hand side of the circuit in order to open up your entry into Maggots. Use all of the curb on the left hand side before a quick change of direction and a dab on the brakes to get the car settled and into the corner. Try to use as much of the curb as possible at the apex, just be careful you don't unsettle the car too much. Try to keep the car in a tighter line at the exit and towards the middle of the circuit rather than the left, in order to open up your entry to Becketts. Change down to 4th and get all the way over the curb on the left. Using the curbs properly through this section of track massively increases the amount of speed you can carry, and therefore has a big impact on lap time. Get the direction of the car changed and get back on the brakes for Becketts. Brakes for Becketts, and change down to 3rd gear. Again, use all of the black and white curbs on the inside and focus on getting the power down as early as possible. You can use the curb on the exit, but try not to use the green runoff as this will compromise your speed when changing direction onto the hanger straight. Just open up the wheel as much as possible and use the exit curb. For Stowe, brake just before the start of the curb. Start moving in slightly from the edge of the circuit to avoid a massive bump which can easily catch you out. Change down to 3rd and similarly to Copse, focus on keeping your corner speed up and let the downforce do all the hard work. Use all of the curb on the apex and get back on the power as early as the car will allow, opening up your steering and using all of the exit curb. Again, like Copse, make sure you don't cross the white line with all 4 tyres. Move back over to the right hand side of the circuit and start braking for the club chicane, just a touch before the curb starts. Turn in before the entry curb ends, and focus on getting the car positioned well on the apex curb. You can finally get off the brake pedal just as you reach this point, and unsurprisingly you want to use as much of the black and white curb as possible without hitting the red sausage curb. Stay as far over to the left as you can, and as you shift up to 2nd gear, attack the curb on the right. Sometimes the car can break traction here as the Bentley did on this lap, so try to be smooth with your throttle application. Use all of the road on the exit as usual. I actually find it's beneficial never to fully straighten the wheel throughout this entire section, in order to keep the weight on the left hand side of the car. Almost treat it like one big corner. This makes it more stable through club. Smash the black and white curb on the inside, but make sure you avoid the sausage curb. Again, use all of the road up until the white line. For Abbey, make sure to utilise all of the curb on the entry. Dab the brakes just after the start of the green runoff area, and turn in pretty much immediately. The key to this corner is getting on the power as early as possible, and in most cars you can do this comfortably before you hit the apex. Again, use all of the black and white curbing. As you exit Abbey, try not to let the car slide out too far to the left, as you want to give yourself an optimal angle for farm curve. Straighten this as much as possible, using the curb on the left. If this is done well, it will set you up nicely for what is, in my overly dramatic opinion, one of the most painstaking sequences of corners in all of motorsport. Try your best to start out as far to the left as possible for village. Straighten the car up and start braking when the black and white entry curb starts. Holding the brakes, start turning in just before the white line running across the track. Shift down to 2nd, pulling the car all the way over the inside curb, but avoiding the sausage. Be patient with the power here, it really helps to keep the car over to the right hand side on the exit. Just make sure you don't sacrifice too much mid-corner speed. Turn into the loop and immediately start braking as soon as you pass the starting point of the striped curb on the right, shifting down to 1st. Use all of the apex curb, and if you have your angles and speed right, you should be able to get back on the power just as you reach this point. Straighten up the wheel as early as possible and use the exit curb. The left-hander at Aintree is flat out, and you can use as much of the curb as you want given that the track limit police seem to be pretty lenient here, and you can gain a few hundreds. Like usual, open up your steering and use all of the exit curb to gain as much speed as you can. There are multiple ways of tackling the next complex through Brooklands. Some brake in a straight line first and then turn in late, others trail brake. The latter can be quicker over one lap, but be aware that your tyres could pay the price during a longer stint. Get onto the curb and start braking and turning in at the same time, just before the marker board. Aim for the left hand side of the car to touch the elbow of the inside curb that you can see sticking out during the braking phase. Change down to 2nd and increase your steering lock with the aim of hitting the late apex. You want to use as much curb as possible here without touching the grass. Try and get the car over to the left as much as you can, before turning right and quickly hitting the brakes into Luffield. Again, there are a few lines you can choose from here depending on car choice and setup. The main two options are a U-shaped line through the corner, hugging the inside all the way round, or a V-shaped line. In a mid or rear engine car where coasting is more useful, a U-shape should work well. In the Bentley and other front engine cars, it tends to work better going for a V-shaped line, so run the car in slightly faster and let it run out towards the middle of the road in the first phase of the corner. Once the grip comes back to you, get on the power nice and early to cut back in for a late apex, straightening up the wheel on exit. There's even time to be found through the flat out Woodcote corner. Cut this on the right hand side as much as you can, without crossing all four tyres over the white line. And that is a lap of Silverstone on ACC, so let's show it to you at full speed to help process that information. Hopefully you were able to learn something about which areas of the circuit might have been costing you the most in lap time. Just to reiterate, every car is different and each has its own strengths and weaknesses, meaning braking points and lines can vary. Just take this into consideration when practicing and experiment away. Now it's time for my 10-second summary. Carry speed through Copse and use the curbs through Maggots and Becketts and focus on the exit. Avoid the scary bump at Stowe, slow and fast out at the club chicane. Carry the speed through Club and Abbey and be patient as you navigate through hell. Cut the corner at Aintree, trail braking experiment through Brooklands and Luffield, then completely ignore the track at Woodcote. That's it for this video. A huge thank you as always for watching, and if you enjoy these track guides, be sure to let us know in the comments below. Subscribe for more exciting content and make sure you hit the notification bell in order to see videos as soon as they are released. Until next time, keep it pinned and have a great day.